What if everything you thought you knew about faith was wrong? Could the teachings of Jesus hold secrets we've misunderstood for centuries? Let's unravel the mystery together and uncover the truth hidden in plain sight. Asterisk, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might change the way you see faith forever. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Faith, a word we hear so often yet understand so little. Jesus spoke of it in ways that left even his closest followers in awe and confusion. Over centuries, interpretations of his words have splintered into countless ideas, leading to profound insights but also common misunderstandings. What if we've been misinterpreting some of his most critical teachings? What if his message wasn't just about rules or rituals, but something far deeper, something personal? In this video, we'll challenge conventional thinking, explore the most controversial teachings of Jesus about faith, and dive into their true meaning. Are you ready to embark on this journey of ancient wisdom and modern revelation? Let's begin. Part 1. Misconceptions about faith. What if everything you've ever been told about faith is only half the truth? Could it be that we've misunderstood the teachings of Jesus for centuries? Today, we're peeling back the layers of tradition to uncover what faith truly means. And I guarantee it's not what you think. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you might see faith in a completely new light, and it just might change everything. Faith. It's a word that carries immense power, yet it's one of the most misunderstood concepts in history. For some, faith is blind trust, a leap into the unknown without evidence. For others, it's a checklist of moral obligations, a set of rules to follow religiously. Are these what Jesus meant when he spoke of faith? Or have we, over centuries, built layers of misconceptions that obscure its true essence? Let's take a closer look at some of these common myths about faith and see if they hold up against the teachings of Jesus. As we do, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are these myths something you've encountered or even believed? Let me know in the comments. 1. Faith equals certainty. One of the most pervasive misconceptions is that faith equals certainty. Many believe that to have faith means to have no doubts, to possess unwavering confidence in the unseen. But when we look at the teachings of Jesus, we find something entirely different. Take the story of Thomas, often called Doubting Thomas. He questioned Jesus' resurrection until he could see and touch the wounds himself. Did Jesus condemn him? No. He invited Thomas to explore, to seek evidence, and through that, to believe. Jesus didn't demand blind certainty. Instead, he valued the journey of seeking, of wrestling with doubt, and of finding trust amidst uncertainty. So, if you've ever questioned your faith or struggled with doubt, know this: you're not failing. You're simply walking the path that Jesus himself welcomed. Does this shift how you think about faith? If it does, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your perspective. 2. Faith is transactional. Here's another common idea. Faith is a transaction. The belief goes like this: if I have faith, God will reward me. If I pray hard enough, blessings will follow. But is that what Jesus really taught? Let's revisit the story of Job. Not one of Jesus' parables, but deeply tied to the biblical understanding of faith. Job was righteous, yet he suffered immensely. His story wasn't about a transactional faith, but about enduring trust, even when blessings seemed absent. And what about Jesus' own words? In John 16, verse 33, he said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Notice, he didn't promise an easy life. He promised his presence in the struggles. Faith, as Jesus taught, isn't a vending machine where you insert belief and receive blessings. It's a commitment to trust, even when life doesn't go as planned. What do you think about this? Does it challenge the way you viewed faith before? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. 3. Faith is about rules. The idea that faith is about following a rigid set of rules, a checklist of do's and don'ts to earn favor with God. But when we look at Jesus' teachings, We see him consistently breaking societal norms and challenging the legalism of the Pharisees. Remember when he healed on the Sabbath? Or when he dined with sinners and tax collectors? Jesus wasn't concerned with rules for the sake of rules. He boiled it down to 2 commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Faith, in Jesus' view, wasn't about compliance. It was about connection to God and to one another. Have we reduced faith to a set of rules, missing its relational core? How might faith look different if we focus less on law and more on love? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below and join the conversation. We've explored some of the biggest misconceptions about faith, that it's about certainty, transactions, or rules. But as we've seen, Jesus' teachings reveal something far deeper. Faith is about trust, about surrender, and about relationship. Now, before we move on to the next part, I want to hear from you. Which of these myths have you encountered? Have they shaped your understanding of faith? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'm reading every one of them. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Ancient Faith Explorations, and hit the notification bell. Together, we'll continue uncovering the truths hidden in ancient wisdom. Part 2. Jesus' core teachings on faith. What if faith isn't about what you can achieve, but what you can let go of? What if true faith transforms not your circumstances, but your heart? Today, we're diving into the core teachings of Jesus on faith, exploring stories that hold timeless truths and surprising revelations. Stick with me, because what you're about to discover could change the way you see everything. Let's begin by looking at one of Jesus' most powerful lessons, a story about something as small as a mustard seed. Faith as potential, the mustard seed. Picture this. Jesus tells his disciples, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. But what does he mean? Surely, he's not suggesting that faith is a magic trick to reshape the world at will. The mustard seed is one of the tiniest seeds, almost invisible. Yet when planted, it grows into a towering tree. Jesus used this metaphor to teach us that faith isn't about its size. It's about its potential. Even the smallest amount of genuine trust in God can lead to unimaginable growth and transformation. How often do we hesitate to take a step forward because we feel our faith isn't strong enough? Jesus reminds us, it's not the magnitude of our belief that matters, but its authenticity. Have you ever experienced a moment when a small act of trust led to something extraordinary? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how faith has shaped your life. 1. Faith as trust. Peter walks on water. One of the most dramatic illustrations of faith in the Bible is Peter walking on water. It's a story we all know, but have we ever truly grasped its depth? Imagine the scene. A storm rages around the disciples' boat. Jesus appears, walking on the water, and calls Peter to come to him. Peter steps out of the boat, a moment of pure trust. But as he notices the wind and waves, doubt creeps in, and he begins to sink. What's striking here isn't just Peter's boldness to step out. It's the fact that his faith wavered when he shifted his focus from Jesus to the chaos around him. Jesus' message is clear. Faith isn't about having the power to walk on water. It's about keeping your eyes on him, no matter the storm. Let's pause here. How often do we allow life storms to shake our faith? Have there been times when you felt like you were sinking, only to find strength by refocusing on what truly matters? Tell me about it in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else. 2. Faith as surrender. Letting go of control. Here's a truth that might make you pause. Faith isn't about controlling outcomes. It's about surrendering control. Throughout his ministry, Jesus consistently taught that faith requires letting go. In Matthew 6 verses 25 to 34, he says, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Jesus invites us to stop striving for control and to trust that God's plan is greater than our own. But let's be honest, This isn't easy. Our natural inclination is to plan, to prepare, to ensure that everything is in our hands. Surrender feels risky, yet it's in the surrender that we find freedom. Faith, as Jesus describes it, isn't about achieving a perfect life. It's about trusting that even in imperfection, God is with us, guiding every step. What do you think about this idea of surrender? Does it resonate with you, or do you find it challenging? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. 3. Faith as action, a way of life. Here's something profound. Faith, according to Jesus, isn't just a belief system. It's a way of life. In James 2, verse 17, we're told, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. This doesn't mean that we earn salvation through works. Rather, it means that genuine faith naturally overflows into action. Think about the Good Samaritan. His faith wasn't demonstrated through a declaration. It was shown in his compassion, in his willingness to help a stranger in need. Jesus teaches us that faith isn't static. It's dynamic, alive, and visible in how we treat others. So, how can we live out our faith in our daily lives? It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes, it's the smallest acts of kindness that have the biggest impact. What's one way you've seen faith in action? Or how do you plan to live out your faith this week? Drop your ideas in the comments. I'm excited to hear them. We explored Jesus' core teachings on faith, the potential of the mustard seed, Peter's faith in the midst of the storm, the freedom of surrender, and the call to action. Together, they reveal a faith that is not about perfection, but about perfection, trust. It is not about control, but about connection. So now I ask you, what does faith mean to you? Does this change the way you view Jesus' teachings? Please take a moment to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Your perspective may spark a deeper conversation and help others see faith in a new light. Don't look away from the screen. Now we come to the best part of the video. Jesus emphasizes faith as a relationship and not just a simple belief system. Let's get started. Part 3. Faith as a relationship. What if faith wasn't about rules, rituals, or reciting doctrines? What if faith, at its core, was an invitation to a relationship, a deep, intimate connection that could transform your life? Let's explore how Jesus redefined faith, not as something we perform, but as something we live, breathe, and experience. Are you ready for a perspective shift that might just change everything? Stay with me as we unpack this profound teaching, beginning with the image of the vine and the branches. 1. Faith as connection. The vine and the branches. Jesus said, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. This isn't just a metaphor, it's an invitation. The vine and branches illustrate the essence of a relationship, a constant flow of life and nourishment from the source. Without that connection, the branches wither. But here's what's often misunderstood. Jesus wasn't asking for passive dependency. He was calling for active communion. Think about it. How do branches thrive? They stay connected, but they also grow, stretch, and bear fruit. Now, take a moment to reflect. How connected do you feel in your faith? Is it vibrant and growing, or has it become more about routine? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear where you are in your journey. 2. Faith as trust, moving beyond rules. Here's a question for you. Are rules enough to sustain a relationship? Imagine a friendship or marriage built solely on a checklist of obligations. It would feel cold, wouldn't it? Jesus challenged this mindset when he said, Abide in me. He wasn't inviting us to follow rules for the sake of rules. He was inviting us to trust him, to live in his presence, to experience a relationship that is dynamic and alive. Rules have their place, but relationships go beyond them. Rules are about boundaries. Relationships are about bonds. Rules demand obedience. Relationships foster trust. Have you ever experienced faith that felt more like a burden of obligations? What if you shifted your focus from compliance to connection? Share your thoughts. I'm curious to hear if this resonates with you. 3. Faith as invitation, a call to intimacy. Faith, according to Jesus, wasn't meant to be distant or abstract. It was and is deeply personal. In Revelation 3, verse 20, Jesus says, "Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me." This imagery is beautiful and profound. It's not about grand gestures or rituals. It's about the simple act of opening the door. It's about relationship, communion, and shared moments of intimacy. Imagine this. What if every prayer, every act of faith wasn't just a duty but an opportunity to sit down with Jesus as a friend? How would that change the way you pray, worship, and live? Let's make this real. How do you experience intimacy in your faith? What's one step you can take today to open that door a little wider? Drop your ideas in the comments. I'd love to see what you're thinking. 4. Faith as presence, being fully engaged. Jesus didn't just teach about a relationship with God. He lived it. He often withdrew to quiet places to pray, not out of obligation, but because he valued the presence of his Father. In John 15, verse 9, he says, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love." Remain. Such a simple yet powerful word. It's not about striving. It's about being. Being present. Being open. Being in relationship. Think about your own life. How often are you fully present? Not just going through the motions, but truly engaged in the moment. Faith as a relationship means showing up, not just for God, but with God, in every aspect of your life. How can you practice remaining in love today? Maybe it's through quiet reflection, a heartfelt prayer, or an act of kindness. Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear how you stay present in your faith. 5. Faith as transformation, a two-way street. Here's the beauty of faith as a relationship. It's not one-sided. Just as you grow closer to God, He draws closer to you. It's a two-way street, a journey where both sides are engaged. Relationships transform us. They challenge us, comfort us, and ultimately shape who we are. Jesus' call to abide in Him isn't just about what we gain. It's about who we become. So, let me ask you, how has your relationship with faith transformed you? Has it changed the way you see yourself, others, or the world? Take a moment to share in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. We've uncovered something profound today. Faith isn't static. It's alive. It's not about rules, rituals, or doctrines. It's about a relationship, dynamic, intimate, and transformative. Jesus didn't call us to follow Him out of obligation. He invited us into a bond of love, trust, and presence. And that changes everything. So, what's your next step in this journey of faith? How will you deepen your connection, your trust, your relationship? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your heart. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Ancient Faith Explorations. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the teachings of Jesus. And if today's message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's walk this journey of faith together. So, what have we uncovered today? That faith, as Jesus taught, is often misunderstood. It's not about certainty, transactions, or rules. It's about trust, surrender, and a deep, abiding relationship with God. Now, it's your turn. What's your takeaway from this exploration? Do you agree with this perspective, or do you see it differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear your insights. And before you go, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Ancient Faith Explorations, and tap the notification bell. Together, we'll continue uncovering the profound wisdom of the past and its relevance to our lives today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next journey into faith and mystery.